Hey friends, it's old Worm McNally here today to talk about whether or not Bungie's decision to not increase the power level next season is going to be an issue in Destiny 2. Now, for those of y'all who haven't heard, Bungie has already said that basically 1810 is going to be the power cap for next season as well as this season, in terms of, armor, obviously. Meaning that next season there will be no 10 level grind that you have to, climb up to by pinnacles and stuff like that. Like, you are staying at your level. If you're 1810 this season, you're going to be 1810 next season. The only thing that's going to reset, of course, is the artifact power level. Now, the reason why I wanted to make this video today is I wanted to talk about whether or not this is going to hurt Destiny 2's player base, logging in and playing and stuff like that. Let's get something very clear. Of course, Destiny 2 is a game that is about the grind, right? I don't think anybody can deny it. Destiny 2 is not a game that you hop on and play, 20 minutes a day and you call it good. Like, if you want a game like that, you go play something like Call of Duty. But in Destiny, you need to put in at least a little bit of time. And it's getting more casual as time goes on, no doubt about it. But it is still a game that does cater to players who invest a substantial amount of time. However, with them removing the pinnacle grind, I feel like this is going to potentially give players less of a reason to play as much. Okay, because here's the thing. I play raids, I play dungeons, stuff like that for the pinnacles. Okay, the raids, like, yeah, they're enjoyable to an extent, but I mean, once I've done it, once I've got the roles I want, I don't have a reason to play it. A raid that I haven't played in a long time is like Deepstone Crypt. I haven't done Deepstone Crypt in a long time, and yes, I know you can have craftable weapons. I don't have much of a desire to get any of those weapons outside of the ones that I have already. So I don't play it. I don't play it for the pinnacles. Whenever it's the weekly raid, I don't play it at all. Okay. And what I feel like is going to happen next season is many players are going to, log into Destiny. It's like, oh yeah, like my power level stays the same. That's great. And I think to a small percentage of players, percent of players, that is a good thing. But I think for most of us, like, it sounds great in theory, but once we get in there and start playing and realize, hey, I'm already 1810, like, I have nothing to do. Like, what's the point of doing X dungeon because I already have the god rolls for it, or the rolls I want, maybe not the god rolls, but the rolls that I want. I'm not getting pinnacle armor anymore. I'm not getting, I don't have that loot incentive to go out and do difficult activities. And I think that that's potentially going to be problematic. I know for me personally, it might be problematic because, again, the only reason I do Root of Nightmares at this point is because I want pinnacles, and once getting pinnacles is gone, I don't know. Will I have the incentive to do it? And here's the thing. I know that a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, yeah, like, of course, like, I'll do it. Like, I haven't got all the red boxes or, this, that, and the other. And I'm speaking on, not necessarily a casual standpoint, but a standpoint of somebody who doesn't care to have every single thing in the game. Because here's the thing, I don't care to have every single craftable weapon in the game, and every single this, that, and the other that exists, because some of them are irrelevant. For example, the seasonal weapons this season, a lot of them aren't really that great, even though you can get them craftable. And I've already got them, of course, because it's super easy to get, the seasonal weapons crafted. But with raid weapons, I don't see much use in getting Michael's Reverence, whatever it is. I can't remember the name of it. Michael's Reverence, the sidearm from Root of Nightmares. For me personally, I don't use 450 round per minute sidearms, like almost at all. The perks on it they're good, and I know I've seen people talk about how, like, it's the best 450 sidearm, but again, I don't use 450 sidearms. Maybe one day they'll get a buff and then I'll have a desire to go out and get it crafted, blah, 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 stuff like that. But until then, I'm fine with not getting the crafted version. I'm fine with not having it. In fact, I got one and I dismantled it because I was never going to use it. I infused it into whatever piece of gear I had that I needed. So yeah, but back to the point here. The pinnacle grind, while a lot of people like while it feels bad sometimes, it is a pivotal point of Destiny 2. And for my veterans here, I want to remind you of what happens when Bungie takes away the grind, so to speak. And all I'm going to say is think of D2 at launch. Okay. And for those of y'all who weren't around for D2 at launch, basically when we went from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, Bungie said, you know what, we've heard your feedback. We know that you don't like grinding and blah, 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 because that was the thing. Like by the time Destiny 2 or Destiny 1's life cycle had ended, players were, you know, complaining about, oh, like we don't like the grind is too much, blah, 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 blah. You know, talking about the grind in a negative manner. So Bungie, when Destiny 2 launched, removed that grind. And what ended up happening was every single roll of a weapon had the exact same, or I'm sorry, every single weapon, you know, for example, like I think in the footage here, you're seeing me use Rufus Fury. Okay, and obviously Rufus Fury wasn't around back in the day, but for example, every single Rufus Fury that ever dropped would have the exact same roll. So if we were still on that system, Rufus Fury would have, you know, say something like Demolitionist and Paracausal Affinity, which is a great roll, but you would never ever get a Rufus Fury without that roll. And that's how every single weapon was in Destiny 2, with the exception of raid weapons. Raid weapons had you could pick between, you know, a couple different perks, but even then, you know, some of the perk choices weren't really that great. Okay, so what ended up happening is players like, wow, super excited, like, yes, like it's kind of nice that, you know, we're not gonna have to grind and stuff like that. But within weeks, 3 weeks, people started realizing, oh, I've got all the guns, I don't have any reason to play anymore. You know, I've got, you know, my annual skate with 1 perk, which I think was Outlaw at the time. My annual skate with Outlaw. What's the point of grinding any activity to get a better roll? Because I've got the roll I wanted. You know, doing the raids even, it was like, hey, like, yes, I got the, you know, Alone as a God, best sniper in the game, crazy high aim assistance, like it's a fantastic sniper. What's the point of going back in the raid? Like, I don't, you know, if you don't care about other weapons from, you know, from the raid, it's like, what's the point of going back and doing it? So, you know, we saw what happens whenever Bungie removes the grind, so to speak. And now we're kind of going back into a situation similar to that. Well, you know, obviously there's still random rolls to chase. Players are not having the ability to increase their power level through their drops. And I think that a lot of veteran and hardcore players are going to feel that. So I think that a lot of veteran and hardcore players are going to, you know, quickly within the next season see, oh, you know, this ain't it. Like, you know, I don't have a reason to do this. Now, of course, there is something Bungie can do to alleviate this. And that is by bringing in really, really fun new weapons. Obviously, we had some dungeon spoilers on the weapons. And there is one, especially that I'm really looking forward to. But it's a breach loaded stasis grenade launcher, by the way, just in case you were wondering. But, you know, the weapons, they need to be very interesting because they need to keep players coming back again and again, because that pinnacle grind is now gone. And I know there's a lot of people that are going to watch and say, pinnacle grind, who cares? More props to you. Okay. Like I'm glad that you feel that way. But again, for truly veteran and hardcore players, the fact that the pinnacle grind is gone is going to affect us in some way. You know, I say us, I don't really care. I mean, I obviously I play more than the average person, but you know, I'm gonna have to see how it plays out. It's really gonna be dependent on the content next season. That dungeon is gonna have to kick ass. You know, the seasonal story is gonna have to be great, and the seasonal activity is gonna have to be wonderful. And personally, the rewards you get from the season pass also are gonna need to be really good, because I don't know about y'all, but I'm not the biggest fan of this season's like legendary ornaments and stuff like that. But you know, neither here nor there. That's kind of just my thoughts, you know, or sharing my opinions on it, I guess. You know, I do worry next season with the lack of pinnacles. You know, is it going to be, are players going to drop off once they realize that there's not a reason to play outside of, you know, just getting new gear? But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You know, I know there's some of y'all who watch that are hardcore players. I know there's some of y'all who watch that are probably not as hardcore. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Like, do you think that next season is going to be rough on the on players because of the fact that there's no reason to play, you know, raids and stuff for pinnacle gear anymore? You know, let me know what you think. Of course, if you like this video, like it, helps out a lot. And drop a sub for daily Destiny content, because we do random talks like this all the time. And hey, go check out the video you see on screen now, because YouTube thinks you would like that one. That's it for me, guys. Bye for now.